based on the challenges the media sector is faced with, we decided to prepare a new batch that will take on professionalism in the future. So we are training these young people, and I want to quiz you today. Most of them are taking down their questions already. So that's the reason why we are here. I want to say thank you so much. So,
great, my pleasure.
Yeah.
Hello. Hello. So who's going first?
I'm student Kadiatu Jallo from the College of West Africa, and we are from the Youth Media Action. We are here today to ask you a few questions relating to yourself, the country, and the youth. So I will start first by asking you. I know that you are part of the Global Alumni Association of CWA. So I would like to know, what are you doing to help the association?
Thank you. And it's good to meet the next generation of foxes from CWA. So we have made several contributions to the Global Alumni Association. We made an initial contribution of 4,000 United States dollars, I think maybe sometime last year, or 18 months ago. And then the Global Alumni Association had a fundraiser a few weeks ago here at the Boulevard Hotel. I was the guest speaker at the fundraiser. And at that fundraiser, we pledged another 5,000 US dollars to CPP. Before then, we used to contribute to the Cummings Africa Foundation used to contribute to paying teacher salaries at the school for over a year or two. So we've been very engaged in helping CWA. It's my alma mater, you know, where I graduated from. That's why I'm active in trying to help to give back. But I would tell you, as far back as, I think it was 2004 maybe, when I was still working at Coca-Cola, we, together with the company, we contributed money to put a computer lab at the school, and I think it's all broken down now. So the point is, we've been giving to the school for a long time. CBS has produced presidents, vice presidents, chief justice. So I'll ask all the other high schools, St. Teresa's Convent, B.W. Harris, so who has produced those kind of leaders, right?
Yeah.
So Kadiatu, you will be president librarian one day, I'm sure.
Yes, I prefer to be a journalist than a president.
No, you can do both. You can start as a journalist, and you can be president one day if you choose to.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Cummings. My name is Laura C. Elibada. I'm from the John Lewis Morris United Methodist School, situated in the Wicker Avenue community. Well, Mr. Cummings, I want to know, would you mind taking us through your bio?
Sure. So good question in terms of my biography, a little bit about myself. So I was born at the old government hospital. It's closed down now. It used to be all the way up Ashmore Street. And then we lived in Point 4 until I was about 12, 14 years old. Point 4 is across the bridge, Putra Island, right near the junction to go to Nukuta. So that's where we lived. And then when I was about 12, 14 years old, we moved to Fiama. And I was there through finished high school. And then I went to Cuttington, so I went to demonstration school for my elementary education on Clay Street. Then I went to CVA for high school. Then I went to Cuttington my first 2 years of university. My father worked in government, but then he became a priest, Episcopal priest. So I grew up in the Episcopal church. My mother was a small market woman. Right now, today, I married my wife Teresa. We've been married for 40 years. We have 2 children. My daughter name is Ayo, and my son name is Boykai. And we have 5 grandchildren, 4 biological, 1 adopted, our adopted grandson, and then 4 other children, so 2 boys and 3 girls, total of 5. My mother is still alive. My mother is just turned 94 in this past August. I grew up with 3 sisters. One of them died in 2017, but the other 2 are still alive. So I have 2 sisters alive today. And so that's a little bit about my biography. I'm a businessman. I studied finance and economics and accounting. I worked for LBDI, the bank here. Then I worked for a company called the Pillsbury Company in the US. And then I worked for the Coca-Cola Company for my last almost 20 years. I worked for the Coca-Cola Company, and I had responsibility for most of the company around the world, globally. So that's a little bit about my bio. And the last 5-6 years or so, I've been in politics in Liberia. I'm the political leader, stand-up bearer of the ANC, soon to be officially the stand-up bearer of the CPP. As you know, I ran in 2017, we didn't win, but we'll be running again in 2023. And we're running because we want a better Liberia for you, the young people. As you know, Liberia is a young country, very young country. What they call the median age is, I think it's 18 or 19, so it's young. I know all of you are younger than that. And I believe you deserve a better Liberia. I believe you deserve a better future. I believe the way our country is today, it doesn't have to be that way. We shouldn't have to be without electricity everywhere, bad roads, or running water, or not having good schools. Our clinics don't have, medicine. It doesn't have to be that way. If we manage our country better, we manage the resources better, we can change our country, and that's my passion. That's what I want to do. So change Liberia for all Liberians to benefit, for you to have the same opportunity I had. And that's why we're in politics, and that's why we're running for president. So thanks for the question, but that's a little bit about my biography.
Thank you. And next, Mary will ask a question.
Okay, Mr. Cummings, my name is Mary Sikira Soku from the Kings and Queens International School. Well, from what you said now, you are running for the presidential series in 2023. So I want to ask you, when you become president, how will you address the corruption going on in the government?
Ooh, good question. So, as you all know, and you know, when I use that big word, Mary, called corruption, right? It's actually stealing, right? These people are stealing, and they are actually rogues. We need to just call it for what it is. And we will do several things to stop the corruption. First, if God bless me and I get to serve our country, to serve you as president, first thing is I will not steal myself. I will have to set the example, right? And it does say the fish that get rabbit from the head, right? And if you don't want the people around you to steal, then you shouldn't steal. If you steal yourself, everybody around you will steal. So first thing, to make sure I will set the example. I will not steal the rental money. Secondly, I will try to appoint people that will also not steal. Of course, there's no guarantees, but the quality, the character of the people that were appointed to government, there will be good character people, people that, most of them, I mean, they got bad people everywhere, right? But most of them if not all of them will not steal. So they can set the example as well. But when they steal, Mary, we'll punish them. We'll not just fire them. We will prosecute them. You know what I mean? We'll take them to court. If they're found guilty, they will go to jail, and the property they buy from stealing library money, we'll take that property back for them. So we will make sure there's no incentive for people to steal. So we'll punish everyone who steals. The other thing we'll do is we'll make sure that civil servants and Liberians who work, they get paid enough money to support themselves and their family. What we call living wage. I'm sure perhaps some of you here, but many Liberians there, their parents work hard, policemen, healthcare workers, teachers, other civil servants, and they don't get paid enough money. This government, they call harmonization, they cut the salaries, and still they don't pay them on time. So we will make sure we pay people regularly and enough money so they can pay their rent every month, they can buy food, they can pay your tuition, because if you don't pay them every month and enough money to do these things, then they got the incentive to steal, to be corrupt. So that's why the policeman will stop you to take money, because he's trying to support his family. Or the nurse or the healthcare worker, they will sell the drugs, even though it's supposed to be free. So we'll make sure we pay them enough money to take care of themselves and their family, and we'll pay them every month consistently. So that when they steal, then we really punish them now. Right? So we'll pay people a living wage. And then the rules and regulations, the policy, we'll simply make things simple. We're not making it too complicated to do business, to get things done. Because when you make it too complicated, then the people who understand it will use it to steal, to take bribes and that kind of stuff. So those are some of the things we will do to stop the corruption. We will set the example when I steal ourselves. We'll get people who will also not steal, but when they steal, they will get punished. They will end up in jail, and we'll take the property that the money they stole before, we'll take it away from them. And as I said, we're gonna pay people enough money to support themselves, so they have no incentive to take bribes and that kind of stuff from people. And then simplify regulations, simplify the process, and make it easier for people to do business, to get things done, because that will help reduce the level of stealing. So those are some of the things we'll do to reduce the stealing in our country.
Yeah, Mr. Cummings, you said that you will take the things they buy with the corrupted money, you will take it from them. So will you give it out to the country or to the children in Liberia? What would that, the property is?
So we'll take that money, we'll sell our property, the money will go back to the government, it will give us more money to fix the schools, to buy drugs for the hospitals. That money will be used to pay people a good salary. So yeah, we'll take that money and we'll benefit the young people, because we'll use that money to fix schools. When you get sick, when you go to the hospital, there will be drugs there, right? We'll make sure your parents, those who work in the government, will get enough money to support their children.
Thank you, sir.
So that's how we'll benefit you.
Okay, thank you for answering Mary's question. We will take Lisa's question.
What's your name?
Nancy.
Nancy.
Yeah, I'm ICS Sagi from the Process Demonstration School. Mr. Cummings, I would like to know, what do you intend to do to those guys who are out there raping our girls?
Yes, good question, Nancy. And again, you know, in our country today, you can do almost anything bad or against the law, and you get away with it. There's no punishment. And so I always say that Liberian men, we should be embarrassed by the statistics on rape, on sexual and gender-based violence. Shame on us as Liberian men for those statistics. But again, we'll punish those people who commit those kind of crimes, gender-based violence, rape. We will make sure that the law enforcement, meaning the police, have the resources, the tools to properly investigate. We'll make sure women who are raped are not re-victimized. They're not, we treat them with dignity. We don't put them through the trauma again. We make sure the judiciary has the resources, meaning the courts, the lawyers, have the resources so we can prosecute. And then we will have a conversation with Liberians that when the father, the brother, the uncle rape somebody in the family, you gotta report it, you gotta punish it. We can't say, oh, don't bring shame to the family, or that the uncle or the father or the brother. We gotta, as a country, as a society, call out those things and make sure people are punished for that. And that, for me, is one of the things I'm most passionate about, is we will do something about this. We'll have the conversation with families, with Liberian members, we'll punish people who commit those acts, and we'll make sure we're not, re-victimizing, people who are victims of those kinds of crimes.
Yeah, Mr. Cummings, you said we should punish those who are different that act. So which punishment you think should be given to those people?
So, whatever the laws say, whatever the laws say, meaning they will go to jail. They will go to jail. That's the punishment. Ultimately, when they're found guilty, we will put them in jail. Nobody will come and beg for them. Nobody will come and say, oh, you know what, that person helped you get elected, they work for you, we will put them in jail. They will get the full weight of the law put against them when they're found guilty of committing those acts.
Okay, thank you for answering this question. We'll take Edwina next.
I'm student Edwina F. Moore from the Bishop Martin Low High School. Mr. Cummings, if you win the election, how do you intend to control the drug abuse in the country?
So, thank you, Edwina. Now, I guess only the young women are asking questions. That's good, though. It's good that we got good engagement from all of you. But on the drugs coming in, first thing we'll do is we will try to stop the drugs from coming in. So we will make sure we got better enforcement at the borders. So at the airport and all the borders around the country. So we want to stop the flow of drugs from coming into the country. 1. 2, those people who are caught bringing drugs in or selling drugs, again, I go back to punishment, to consequences. I said earlier in Liberia, you can do anything bad today, and then you can get away with it. If God bless me, I become president of our country, we'll have a country of rule of law, where when you break the law, there will be consequences. You will get punished. And so anybody caught selling drugs, bringing drugs in, will prosecute them, will punish them, put them in jail. Then, the other thing we have to do is, we have to make sure that people who now have drug problems, who got addictions, we gotta make sure we treat them. We gotta have rehabilitation homes and centers for young people. A lot of our Zogos are on drugs. We gotta take them off the street. We gotta get them off their addiction. We gotta give them skills. We gotta train them to do stuff. And then we gotta get them jobs to do so they can support themselves and their families. So that's something we'll do as well in terms of stopping the flow of drugs into the country, punishing those who distribute drugs, and then making sure we take care of those people who are unfortunately addicted to drugs already. So those are some of the things we'll do around the whole issue of drugs in our country.
Thank you. Thank you for answering Edwina's question. We'll take Mr. Lloyd next.
All right, Mr. Lloyd.
My name is student David M. Lord from the Madam Christian Academy on Estikoboro. Mr. Cummings, what will you do about this secret killing in our country?
Thank you, Dewey. So, this is another problem in Liberia, where again, you hear me repeating the same thing, right? That people do bad things and then nothing happens to them. So, first of all, we'll make sure that the police has the support, the logistics, the materials they need to investigate when these mysterious killings take place. We will not, today, the police, the leadership of the police in Liberia is what they call is politicized, is run by seditions. We will make sure we got professionals running the police. We'll make sure they have the resources so they can go after these mysterious deaths, people who get killed mysteriously. And again, when people are found guilty of these crimes, they will go to jail. There will be consequences for people who commit any of these bad things, including mysterious killings. And then we need to understand, some of the behaviors that drive, people to do these things. But the biggest deterrent is that people know when they do this, they will be found because we investigate, we have the means and the tools to do it, and when they are caught, we'll prosecute them and we'll put them in jail again, so we can stop. Security and safety is something that is basic as president or as leader. If people don't feel safe, then you have failed. Because unless you feel safe, you will not be comfortable going to work or whatever, right? So that's a basic thing we gotta do, make sure everybody feels safe. Our young people don't think they will get molested or they will get raped, or people won't feel they will die mysteriously, or they stealing. All of these things, it's important that we focus on those things so citizens can feel free to go anywhere, to do anything and not worry. If the environment is not safe, you will not get people to come and invest, foreigners to come and bring money to help create jobs, because it will be unsafe. So prosecuting, punishing those people who commit these acts is something that we will do.
Thank you for answering Mr. Lord's question. We'll take Maurice's question.
As Mr. Cummings, I'm student Maurice Geopolitical from my international school system. Mr. Cummings, I want to ask, what made you different from other politicians?
So, I think compared to all the other people who are running for president today, I think what makes me different, Mercy, is I know and understand how to, what they call, grow the economy, or to create jobs for people. Because a big problem today in Liberia is that we don't have enough jobs for our citizens. I'm sure some of your parents even probably don't have jobs, right? And I know how to create jobs, how to grow the economy. I describe the economy, think about it as a bowl of rice, or a bowl of GB or fufu, whatever you eat, but let's say bowl of rice. And we need to grow, make that bowl of rice bigger, right? And we want to make sure that every Liberian have a chance to put their hand in that bowl of rice. And in that bowl of rice, you got jobs, you got scholarships for people, you got good health care, clinics with drugs in the clinics, you got schools that are good quality schools with good equipment, chemistry labs, science, biology lab, computer labs. And so, of all the people running today, I think I have the experience, the skill, and the know-how so that we can grow, make that bowl of rice bigger, and then we allow every Liberian to put their hand in the bowl of rice and take their share. The only thing we'll make sure that will limit whether you put your hand in that rice or how much you eat is you gotta follow the rules. You gotta obey the law. If you don't obey the law, you don't follow the rules, we're not letting you put your hand in the bowl of rice. The other thing is, if you're lazy, you will not eat much of the rice. If you're strong, you eat more of the rice. But that's up to you. Those two things are up to you. Right? It's up to you to follow the rules, and it's up to you to work hard or not. That's the only thing will limit your ability to eat that bowl of rice. So compared to everybody else that I know today who's running to serve our country as leader, as president, I know how to grow that bowl of rice better than any of them. And I think that's perhaps our biggest problem today. We got other issues, other problems, no question about it. But the economy, that bowl of rice, making it bigger and making sure everybody who obeys the law can put their hand in that bowl of rice is our biggest challenge. And compared to anybody else, I know how to grow that bowl of rice. But in addition to that, you know, my background experience is different. I don't have any issues with integrity, not involved in any of the history of the wars in our country, and that sort of stuff. So those are some other characteristics we bring to the job. All right?
Thank you for answering my question. We'll take the next question.
My name is Rubina Chini from the Crown System. Mr. Cummings, if you become the president of the bureau, how will you improve the education sector?
Great. Thank you, Rubina. So, the most important thing we'll do to improve the educational sector is we will focus on teachers training. Because if you don't have a good teacher, whether you're in university, you're in secondary school, in middle school, elementary, primary, if the teachers are not well trained, if they don't know the subject, English, chemistry, math, if they don't know the subject, they will not teach you well. We will get not qualified students. Again, whether university student, high school, elementary, secondary, we will focus on teachers training. We'll focus on making sure teachers are well paid, so that they're not taking money to change grades, so that they're not, you know, trying to sleep with students so they can change their grades. Primarily, we'll focus on teachers' education and making sure we got qualified teachers to teach you, so that when they're teaching you chemistry or arithmetic or biology, you know you're getting the right, or computer science, where you're getting the right training. That's one. The second thing we'll do to improve the educational system is we will focus on vocational training to make sure that some people will go the university route, but some people will want good carpenters, electricians, people who make soap, pastry, home economics. We will make sure we create institutions that are focused on those areas, so Liberians can have a choice in terms of, you know, what to do. Because we think improving education that will give people more opportunities, if you will. We'll make sure our schools are properly equipped. So the standards before you open a school, you will have to meet certain requirements. Qualification of your teachers, the facility, the building will have to be certain standards. So those are some of the things we'll do to improve education in Liberia, and we'll spend more resources than is being spent today. Because without an educated population, democracy doesn't really work, and even if you develop the country, you can't maintain it if the population is not educated. And so we will invest in education, and we'll do some of the things I talked about to improve the quality of education in our schools. We will also, you know, look at things like, look at school feeding programs and that kind of stuff, so that when young people come to school, we want to make sure they at least get one good meal. Because if our young people are hungry, or anybody, even if I'm hungry, I don't think, well, my chief of staff, Mariah, but she's hungry, should I get vexed? So we want to make sure our young people, seriously, we will look at whether we take for school feeding program, so that, because I know a lot of young people today go to school hungry. And it's hard to learn, to pay attention when you're hungry. So those are the kinds of things we look at. And if we do that, the quality of education will improve.
Thank you for answering Regina's question. We'll take Kinesha's question.
Good day, Mr. Cummings. Firstly, I would love to say I love your outfit.
Thank you.
Welcome. So, I would love to know, how do you feel when people out there criticize you? How do you feel, like, your reaction?
Right.
Yes.
Good question. Well, it depends on the criticism, right? Look, nobody likes to be criticized, but I don't get angry most of the time, or I don't get vexed most of the time. I actually try to listen to the criticism, because oftentimes, not always, oftentimes there's something in the criticism you can learn from, you can benefit from. Because although I've been blessed, I've been successful in life, I don't know it all. I make mistakes sometimes. And sometimes it's good to not just get vexed and push the criticism aside, but to listen to what they're really saying. Because I always want to learn. I always want to do better, to improve myself. Some of the criticism is not valid because, we in politics and people will just say things that is completely not true, complete lies, right? The good news is, I tell myself, and it helps that, look, the people that really know me, they know that this stuff is a lie. And so, for those people, it's important that they understand, and that helps. That my true friends, relatives who know me, they're like, that person just lying, right? But the most important lesson, and for all of you, is try to understand the criticism. And if there's something in that criticism that you can learn from, that you can benefit from, something you need to change or do different, try to understand the other person's side, why they think that way, why they're being critical. And if it's just only because it's just political, they got to say something, then I dismiss it, right? But sometimes there's something in there that I said something I shouldn't have said, I said it the wrong way, or maybe they don't understand, something I did or I didn't do, and maybe I can explain it to them. But like most human beings, when they first criticize you, I'd have bristled as well. But then I try to go beyond that and try to understand, the criticism and the source of it.
Thank you for answering Kinesha's question. We'll take Diana's question.
I'm Diana Law from Lamy Middle High School. I want to know, Mr. Cummings, if you become president in this country, what are your plans towards this nation?
Thank you, Diana. So again, if I'm blessed to get a chance to serve our country, the first thing I say, I view the job of president as one of service. I'm there to serve the Liberian people. I'm not there to play big shot. I'm there to, look after our country and our people. The example I like to use, and there is a book that you can read on that, and the book says, lead us as a leader. Lead us eat last. Lead us. And let me tell you what I mean by that, because some people are taking it the wrong way. They mean I want to chop like rental money. But when we in the political party, even here, when we order lunch, when we order food for us to eat, I don't make sure I take my food last. That everybody else get fed before I take my food. And the reason why that's important is if you're the leader and they set up the buffet and you the first to eat, then you don't care that there's not enough food for everybody else. Because you not eat. And people come down, the food finish. But if you have to wait until everybody take out the food before you eat, you will make sure there's enough food, right? Because you gotta eat too at the end. And that's the way I think about leadership, about being president, that my job is to look after Liberian people first, take care of Liberian people before I look after. So I will not take a salary. I don't know whether to pay the president, but I don't want a salary. Whatever that money is, we'll put it back into the treasury to help, develop the country. I want to set a good example for the country. I want to go to work on time. I want to hold people accountable. If you say you will do this, you should do it if you're a minister. I will not steal. I will manage the country's resources to benefit the Liberian people. So we'll fix the schools, fix the educational system, we'll fix the healthcare system. I'm not promising it will happen on day one. I will be lying to you if I say inauguration in January 2024, and then by February we'll fix everything. But Liberians will see progress. You will see small things will be getting better, and we'll fix the country. But we'll set that as a great example, and we will serve the Liberian people. We'll take care of the Liberian people. This job is not there for us to look after ourselves, but to serve the country and the people. And I think that will be the difference in our Cummings administration.
Thank you for answering the other question. We take another question.
I'm Sarah M. Nash from Acosta Demonstration School on the GFA road. Mr. Cummings, I would like to ask, how was you successful in becoming a big businessman?
Good, thank you, Sarah. So, it's, first of all, I always say, Sarah, that I've been blessed. Like, I give God credit for my success. That's the first thing I start with. And I mean that sincerely. I've been blessed. Like, then beyond that, and when I say I've been blessed, I'm blessed to be a Liberian. Something I'm very proud of. I was blessed, and I didn't choose that. You don't choose to be a Liberian or Ghanaian or Nigerian or American. So I consider that a blessing. I was blessed that I mentioned my parents were hardworking, and they taught me right from wrong, good from bad. And my parents were tough on me, but it helped me to be a good person today, so that was a blessing. But beyond that, I studied very hard, and I encourage you to study hard. I'm also very disciplined. I'm focused. So if I say I want to do something, I don't stick with it. I don't get discouraged easily. And so part of my success is to be disciplined, to not get discouraged, to be focused on what I'm trying to do. Also, another part of my success is that I like people. I build teams. I know I don't know everything. I know some people are smarter than me. They know more than me. And it's okay if somebody is smarter than you, bring them in, let them come help you. You'll work together. And I did that through my career to help me move forward. You know, when you're the leader of the team, people remember if you're a good leader or you're a bad leader. And what makes you successful, a good leader or a bad leader, is the team you build around you. You want other people who bring different skills and not be scared about that. Don't not worry about that. So that helped me as well. So hard work, discipline, not getting discouraged, getting other people who smarter than me around me to help me do things. Those are all the kinds of things that have contributed to my success. And then most of all, as I say, I've been blessed in life. And I think the other thing that contributes to your success, anybody's success, is that when you help other people along the way. You know, God will bless you. When you help other people, life works that way. You help other people, your blessings increase, you know, and so on and so forth. So those are some of the reasons why I think I've been successful.
Thank you for answering several questions. We have one final to today's discussion, so we'll just take a few more questions. Let's take Tina question.
Good afternoon, Mr. Cummings. My name is Sibina and I'm from the Sotiama Christian School System. I want to ask, why did you decide to have your own party, ANC?
Thank you. So the ANC is not my own party. So I joined the ANC. You know, Sabina, most people don't know that. They think I just came and I started the ANC. I didn't. The ANC was a party that already existed. It was a small party. It was a new party. But I joined the ANC, and the reason why I joined the ANC is because I like the ANC vision, which is to make Liberia a middle-class society. I will define what that means. Their mission is to put Liberia first. And then the party has some things they believe in. They believe in developing the country. They believe in developing the people. So the point is, I joined the ANC, but then I helped make it bigger. I helped to grow the party. I helped to make the party name one of the, when people talk about political parties today in our country, the ANC will be one of the parties they will name as one of the big parties in Liberia. So we helped to grow the party, to make it bigger, but we didn't start it. We didn't create our own party, we joined the party. And you know the reason why I wanted to join a party, because I think as Liberians, we don't work well together. You know, everybody like to do their own party, their own club, their own NGO. And I didn't want to contribute to that. I want Liberians to find a way to work together. So I said, you know, I'm going to politics. I want to join the existing party and work with them to make the party bigger, make it better. And that's what we did.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for answering our question. We'll take Sasha's question next.
My name is Sasha Mohammed. I'm from the Sotiama Christian School System. Mr. Cummings, if you become a president, how will you help the youth?
So we'll help the youth in many ways, but some examples. One of the most important ways we help the youth is to make sure our schools, our educational facilities are good. That when you go to school, your classroom will be good. It'll be well equipped. You will have trained teachers. We will make sure, as I mentioned, not only education in the sense of elementary, high school, university, we'll have vocational training for our young people, for our youth. We'll make sure we're creating jobs for our young people. We'll make sure there's entertainment. We'll make sure we're developing music, arts, culture for our young people to get involved in and participate in. So those are all the kinds of, but the most important thing is to educate our young people. To make sure you got good education, you got good schools, you got good equipment, you got good trained teachers. To make sure that again, in the schools we feed our young people, right? So you can focus on your lesson. But in addition to that, vocational training for our young people, creating jobs when they get out of school, so you have jobs to go to. Those are the kinds of things we do to support and help our young people developing the arts and culture. I think it's very important that we support musicians and artists and people in sports. right? Those are all important things for what Togo used to call a wholesome functioning society. You need all of these elements to come to play, and we will help our young people in that regard. Thank you.
Thank you for answering Sasha's question. We'll take Courage question.
My name is Courage Bridget. I'm in the Reaction Academy School. Mr. Cummings, I want to know what are some of your challenges you face?
Some of the challenges I face. So, challenges are, the way I think about challenges is I think about them as opportunities. So I first don't start by saying, oh, this is a challenge and I can't solve it. I always say, if there's a challenge, then it's an opportunity that we can flip around. But some examples of challenge is to how we motivate our party and partisans to stay engaged and stay involved is a challenge. Another challenge is the infrastructure when I travel around the country. You know, the bad roads, the fact that for many parts of the country you have no cell phone connection, so infrastructure is a challenge. The other challenge, personal challenge, is the amount of work that we have to do, the number of people I want to meet, I want to touch. And I always say there's only 24 hours in a day, only 7 days a week, only one Alexander Cummings, and I want to meet as many Liberians, touch and travel around the country, and it's a challenge to do, to do all of that. Politics require money, require fundraising, so that is a bit of a challenge too, in terms of the political effort. So those are some examples of the challenges we're faced with. But again, in all of those, depending on how you think about it, you can turn it around and it can become an opportunity. And that's how I like to think about challenges.
Thank you for answering Courage's question. We'll take Favor question and 2 more after her.
My name is Favor NGF Zalku. I'm from Kings and Queens International School. Mr. Cummings, I want to ask you, what if you become the president, what will you do for the children who are on the street begging?
Right. So thank you, Favor. So one of the things we'll do is we'll take all the children off the street who are not just begging, but who are selling. We'll make sure those children are taken off the street and put into school, or put into homes, or whatever. And then when we do that, we gotta make sure the resources are there to educate them. If they're on drugs, I mentioned earlier, is rehabilitation centers to give them skills. But no child should be on the street selling or into drugs or just loitering, just doing nothing. We will take our young people off the street and put them in facilities and institutions that can train them, develop them, rehabilitate them. We gotta make sure we create jobs for the parents to support them. So all of these things are connected. All of these things fit together. I mentioned earlier, Liberia is a young country, and everything we do gotta be focused on the young people, because you represent the future of Liberia. If we don't look after the young people, our future will be bleak, and that's not what we want. All right.
Okay, thank you for answering Favor question. We'll take Laura.
Mr. Cummings, I'm really glad to see you for real. Yeah, I came here to brag about it. And from your engagement with all these questions, it's like you won't even allow sympathy to exceed your interest. Nevertheless, I want to know, Mr. Cummings, looking at our country economic crisis and our living conditions, how do you feel about it? Like your country is always in the worst. Like, having a country that would do children trafficking, illicit drugs, and worst of it, the marketing, looking about food, where they are sold, and a lot of things. How do you feel about it?
It makes me angry. It makes me vexed to see Liberia the way it is, and all of the things you mentioned. Because I know we can do better. I know as a people, we shouldn't be living the way we're living. We shouldn't be experiencing what we're experiencing. And so it makes me vexed, it makes me angry because we can do better, and because the leadership of our country is not doing anything to help us. The leadership of our country is spending almost all their time stealing, looking after themselves, putting the money in their pockets, as opposed to looking after the Liberian people. So my reaction is one of disappointment, but it's one of anger because I know we can do better, and our people deserve better. I often say Liberia deserves better, Liberians deserve better. I often say our country is too rich for us to be so poor. We got a lot of natural resources, but only a few people are benefiting. And we gotta change that so that, you know, I thought about growing our bowl of rice. The way we grow our bowl of rice is by making sure the resources of Liberia benefit the Liberian people, not just a few people. And so my reaction is anger, vexation, disappointment, because I know we can do better, we can do different. And that's why, you know, I'm working hard to make my case to Liberian people, to give me the chance to serve them. Because working together with Liberian people, we can change our country. And I say I say we. Because I know Liberians are, I mean, I spend time with you here today, all of you. I'm leaving here inspired, encouraged by our young people, by how bright you are, how you want to improve yourself. It gives me even more energy, you know, to work hard to get a chance to serve our country as president, so we can change the lives of Liberian people. We shouldn't be living the way we live. It should not be that way.
I wish I can be one for you.
Thank you. One day you will. On my second term.
Okay, thank you for answering Laura's question. I'll ask the last question. If you are elected as a president for Liberia, how do you intend to stop tribalism?
Good question. So, you know, something I always say, Kadiatu, is that we just think about this, right? You don't choose, it's not your choice what tribe you're born into, right? You don't choose your tribe. I don't choose to be in the Bravo tribe. You don't choose to be Gola, Vai, Mandingo, Crown, Mano, Gio. Not a choice. You don't choose it. One. You don't choose whether you're a man or you're a woman. You don't pick your gender, right? You don't choose the religion you're born into. So you don't choose whether you're born a Christian or a Muslim. That's a choice. So none of these things should give you an advantage or disadvantage over anybody else. You don't choose whether you're born in Lima, Maryland, Bomi, Monserrado, Lofa. Not a choice. So we need us as a country, as a people, to realize that those things are not choices, and because you don't choose it, it shouldn't benefit you or it shouldn't harm you. The only thing that should harm you or benefit you is what you do, is the individual choices you make as a person, as a citizen. The other thing we'll do to help with this tribalism thing is that, I talk about this bowl of rice. We will make sure we're growing our bowl of rice. Because when the bowl of rice is not growing or you're getting smaller, it's human nature. You will look after yourself first, then your family, then your tribe. You will keep other people. Because the bowl of rice is getting smaller. But we'll make that bowl of rice bigger, and then everybody will be able to put a hand in that bowl of rice. It does not matter who your tribe is, or whether you're male, you're woman, or you're Christian, or you're Muslim. Don't matter, right? And we will set the example, the way we organize the government, the way we organize things. Every Liberian will see themselves represented. Today in the ANC, everybody from across the country representing the leadership of the ANC. right? But those are the kinds of things, we will set the example, we will grow the voter rights, we will make sure that every Liberians can see themselves reflected, no matter who you are, where you're from. And then the conversation we're having now, we gotta have with the country and remind us that your tribe is not your choice. And therefore it should not harm you or it should not benefit you. But what you do as a person, it should determine your success or your failure. And we'll set the example and we'll make sure Liberians understand that as we go forward.
Thank you very much for answering all of our questions. I think you have cleared the doubts in our minds, and we hope you live true to your voice. So let's give him a wow.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow. Wow.
One more time.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
And let me say to you that I will live true to my word. This conversation is being recorded, so you can play back what I said, because we are serious, we are committed to it. As I said, Liberia deserves better. We have a better country. As I also said to you, it will not happen on day one, but it will happen. And Liberians will see the progress progressively over time. And so maybe we'll set a date. 3 years into my presidency, we'll come back here and we'll play the tape, and we'll see if we make progress. Because I'm determined that we'll make progress on all of these fronts. All right? But I thank you. I'm inspired by you, and I enjoyed the conversation. Thank you very much. Let me give you a hand.
So the wow is a way to appreciate. So most time in our gatherings, we don't clap, we just do the
wow. Wow. Wow.
So we just have a group photo with you, and thank you so much.
$100 each. I'm just joking.
So just a group photo. I know whether we can take it there.
So where the best location? Should we stay outside?
Dans une conversation avec Alexander Pinkumi, artist of a
Yeah.
thank you
We
for
can manage.
sharing.